Wakefield sit Helens are the Women's Super League champions. The most amazing game for the Leeds Rhinos.
Warrington dominating. Great try for the Robins. Huddersfield Giants take the points home.
Henderson is a poor lad.
That is one sensational try.
3 in a row, the Saints. The three-peat is achieved. An 8th grand final win for the Red Bee.
Well, good evening. Welcome to The Last Tackle, your weekly one-stop shop for everything from the world of Rugby League. Delighted this week to be joined by Andrew Henderson and Kevin Brown. Gents, loads to get through this week, so let's crack on and deal with the weekend just gone in the Betfred Super League. And Hendo, perhaps the most eye-catching result of the weekend came in the first game.
Yeah.
What a performance from Leeds against Wigan.
Oh, they were absolutely outstanding. I thought it was a really, really good performance there from the Rhinos. Wigan just, for me, never really got into the game. I just thought Leeds from the start, they out-enthused, they out-energised. I just thought they were very direct. They were aggressive. I thought they were aggressive. I thought they sort of met fire with fire. You know, we talk about Wigan being sort of an aggressive side and there's sort of grit about them, but I thought Leeds really stepped up to the plate on that front. I just thought they really came out the blocks hard, and I thought there were some really strong performances. You know, Harry Newman was outstanding. I thought on the night. I thought Cameron Smith, who was in the halves, I thought he was excellent for the Rhinos. So I thought across the board a very, very encouraging performance for the Leeds Rhinos, and one they thoroughly deserved.
We were just talking about Harry Newman off air, Kev. He's made a massive difference since he came back from that injury, hasn't he?
He has. He got away with one at the weekend, I think. I don't think that was a try, and they've come out for a play.
Yeah.
They've said it wasn't a try, but he's looking strong, and he's come back from his broken leg and looking like he's going to be a real good player for the rest of the year. But for the international team in England, I think he'll be a massive boost for the team.
Agreed.
Hull FC 18, Castleford 46. Kev, worrying times for the black and white side of Hull, isn't it?
Yeah, and not just that they got beat, the manner that they got beat. They were winning 18-4 at half-time and then go down 46-18. So it just shows the sort of capitulation they had in that second half. And I think, they have got a few loan players in. Jake Connor played in the halves and it just didn't work. When they went down to, I think, 12 men, then 11 men, they just didn't have that resilience in defence. And that's what's hurting them at the minute. Me and Endo spoke before about defensively, Hull FC, they're just leaking too many points. But they've got a lot of attacking players. But when they go behind, they're almost chasing points. And it came up with a couple of interceptions, one from Jake, one from Scott Taylor, I think it was, which just compounded the result.
And the Castleford fan in you, Hendo, must be pretty pleased, because Lee Radford looks like he's got them moving in the right direction. Yeah,
look, I just think they're getting on with things. I mean, I know it was probably a little bit of a slow start to the season for them, but I think that was an element of Lee Radford obviously imposing his way on the team and obviously getting the grips. I remember speaking to Lee early in the season, and he mentioned about how he was getting his head around the fact that probably in the past Castleford played a lot through the 9 and off McShane, whereas Lee was looking to try and influence a bit more play through Westerman and off his loose forward, that type of thing. So I think it just took a little bit of time for that understanding and chemistry to evolve between the 9, the 13, the halves. But one thing I have noticed is I just think they have got a little bit more defensive steel about them, and I think as a team their mindset has slightly shifted in terms of mentality. I think when you look at probably Castleford in the past, they were very much an attacking ethos behind that team, very attack driven, and I think what Lee Radford has brought is a little bit more of a defensive steel about them, a little bit more of a competitive edge to the Castleford Tigers this season. So I think he's doing a great job so far this term.
Warrington, Kev, another concerning result for them. They went down 22-30 to OKR. They just seem to get, as soon as the pressure goes on in the last 10 minutes of the game, they just seem to get very jumpy and lose their composure.
Well, yeah, completely. I think if they've not got 20, 30 point leads, you're always worried. You're worried if you're a fan, if you're an owner, if you're a player, that they're going to come back. And that mental fortitude, I just think, isn't there at the minute. The trust has gone. That's the first thing that goes when you have bad performances, the trust. And, when you change your philosophy and you change and you're looking for this winning sort of formula, you've changed a lot of things, and then when it doesn't go to plan, it's almost like, we'll have to go back to the drawing board. And I just feel that it's not to do with personnel and it's not to do with the coach. I just think confidence is absolutely at the lowest ebb that it could be, and they need to find a way of, getting the minds right, because it's clear to see everyone's going there, and if they've not been blown away, there's still a chance of winning that game. That's what OKR did. Mikey Lewis did it last year in the playoffs. He came back to haunt him again this time with his kicking game. I thought he was fantastic.
And then Catalans getting the win against Huddersfield, Hendo, a game that may well go on to decide who finishes third in the league, and psychologically a big win for the Dragons.
Yeah, massive win for the Dragons. I think they needed that one, to be honest. I think there was probably a few critics starting to doubt, are the Dragons the real deal? And I think they needed that performance and they needed that result. You know, I know it was probably a tough, scratchy one in the end, but the reality is they needed to get that one across the line because, as we know, the Giants...
Bit of a grudge match, wasn't it, after that?
Yeah, absolutely. But, yeah, the Giants, as we know, are a good quality side. So I think it was certainly a pleasing result for the Catalan Dragons, and one I feel they genuinely needed, I think, to reinstate the fact that they are genuine contenders towards the back end of this season as we come into the business end.
And to lose Salford, Kev, I know a lot of Salford fans were nervous going into that one because of the form that Toulouse are in, but Salford have really started to tick, aren't they?
Well, two form sides, I think. You look at the league table and you think Toulouse out of form side, but they've won 2 out of 3. Salford, I think, are playing as good as anyone at this moment in time. Playing without a pack as well. The amount of players that they've had missing through injury and suspension in that middle of the field. They've got Ben Halliwell in for 2 weeks. He's gone back to Ferguson now. He was great for Salford. The performances of Joe Burgess, he made some telling. The ankle tap on Tony Guizio. But yeah, the way they're just ticking off these games and the manner in the way they're playing. They're throwing the ball around. Paul Rowley, for me, I believe he's one of the best coaches in Super League, and what he's doing with that side there, with the budget he's got, with the players he's got out, I think is phenomenal. Yeah, and I wanted to say too, I think Brady Croft has been absolutely outstanding this season for them. I think he is... He's almost the form halfback. Yeah, I agree, mate. I think he was great. It was a pleasure to work with and be involved with the combined nations early this season, but I think he's been pivotal to the success of Salford in terms of the attacking play, and clearly he's got a good relationship with his coach and he understands what his coach is asking of, and I just think the way he is playing, the way he injects himself into the game, the way he's getting his team around, and you can see the enjoyment he's having as a player too, but I just think he deserves a special mention. I think the form he's in at the moment.
Rounding off the weekend, Wakefield losing in golden points at St Helens. Hendo. Even though I think everyone went into that game expecting St Helens to win, it almost feels like the manner of it could be even worse for Wakefield, and you've just got to hope that disappointment doesn't break them in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, really, really tough at the moment at Wakefield. You know, you can just see that there's a number of players have been leaving the club or going out on loan. We've seen Ton Lynham recently joined Featherstone, and I'm not sure there's a happy camp there at the moment at Wakefield. It doesn't seem that way. They're really struggling to get there and find that result. I think they probably would have gone into that game with St Helens being a little bit under strength, probably would have felt that they might have had an opportunity at home, especially the fact that they're in that situation where they're desperate at the moment, and when a team's desperate, they can rise to the occasion, and they obviously did raise their performance for that contest, but you never write off the Saints, do you? You know, they find a way. I don't think there's any other team that can be 12 points down in a wet game, under strength at Wakefield, come back. What Johnny Lomax did the first time he's kicked for Saints, 2 kicks off the conversion. Off the sideline. To give his team a chance to get to extra time, and then Jack Wellsby, I'm running out of words to
comes up with a clutch play, doesn't he?
So good, such a good player.
He just seems to be progressing beyond his years at the moment, Jack Wellsby, Kev. Every time I see him play, you kind of run out of superlatives for him, and the limit of where he could get to is endless, isn't it?
Well, I don't think he'll get the full back of the year. I think Jay Field will get that, but I think Jack Wellsby's a better player. I think he's an all-round better player. He's got pace, he's got kicking game, he's got clutch with the drop goals, he can move positions. I just think, for me, he is the best player in the league at the minute, and it's frightening where he can go, and I'm just so glad he's going to be available for that England team. Where he plays, I'm not sure, but he's got to be in the starting 13.
What a blessing, though, for Sean Wayne to have a player that, with maybe the exception of prop, you'd put him anywhere, wouldn't you?
I think he'd do all right at prop. He played loose forward in the cup final against Castleford, and he was the best player on the field when he went on there. So
he's a footballer, isn't he? He's a natural footballer.
He doesn't play a certain way wherever he plays. He plays like Jack Wellsby. Yeah. Whatever numbers on his back, he plays a Jack Wellsby performance, and it's 8, 9, 10 out of 10.
Well, that's the weekend just gone in the Betfred Super League. Every round taking on more significance as we approach the playoffs and the grand final, of course. And after that, we've got the Rugby League World Cup. And this morning, we got a glimpse of the shirt that England will be hoping to lift that trophy in October.
think it's a great design, change up of the colours as well, which I think is fantastic. And yeah, one I'm really excited to hopefully wear come October time. Yeah, to pull on this great design and represent your family and friends and the people of this country, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I like it. I like the V across the front, and to be honest, it fits really well. It's always an honour to wear the badge, and you know, having a different kit as well. It's great.
I love it. Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? I think it's quite unique as well. I don't think we've had a shirt like this for a while, so yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful, mate. Really nice. I'm liking it. Oh yeah, it's one of the biggest honours you can get in it, pulling on an England shirt. I'd love to do that in a World Cup.
Yeah, I think it's really smart. You know, I like it. Really looking forward to the World Cup, and the squad's playing and performing really well. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I like it, mate. Obviously, seeing it now, we've got a few photos took in it and stuff like that. And yeah, it's different, but I really like it, mate.
Yeah, that's the New England kit released this morning, and they're going to look the part, Kev, but every time we get an international kit release or someone declares himself for England, that excitement just goes up a notch, doesn't it? And this World Cup, we've been talking about it all year. It's getting closer and closer. It's going to be amazing.
Well, we've had a little bit of a curtain raiser against Endo's side, haven't we? We got a glimpse of them. I thought they were great in that. Sean Wayne's, you know, he's got his team together now, and they are getting better, but I think when you see some of the emergence of the players getting back on the field, Harry Newman, Jack Wellsby, like we mentioned, Morgan Knowles, some of these players, Victor Radley sticking his hand up now, the team's sort of snowball into something that's quite exciting.
And just the range of rugby league, the stuff that was on the menu for rugby league fans over that 2-month period, Endo, is just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. I mean, I love the fact that we've got all versions of the game, haven't we? We covered, you know, the men's, the women's, the wheelchair. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity for people to experience what the World Cup has to offer. And from what I'm hearing, all the organisers around the Rugby League World Cup have got some fantastic events going on around some of these venues, and to really make it a real game day experience for certainly new fans who are going to be engaged within the sport. So I think it's great. You know, we're going to be going to different parts of the country, but also to have different versions of the sport being showcased as well. I think it's going to give, like I said, more people an opportunity to engage with the World Cup and experience what it has to offer, which is going to be fantastic. Can't wait.
You've both played international football, you've played at World Cups, but Kev, pulling on that England shirt, there can't be anything better.
Well, we were discussing about the shirt, what we'd do with it, or what. It doesn't matter. You put a bin bag on them, as long as that, you know, that England badge is on your chest. There is no prouder feeling. It's the best feeling I've had in my career. You know, regardless of finals, wherever it was, wherever I went and played for England, it was the proudest moment in my career. And you know, you always want more. We sat here with Adrian Morley, I think at the highest Test caps, and he wanted more. But to play once was enough for me. It was fantastic.
Well, let's get the thoughts of an England legend, a Rugby League legend, and current Hull KR coach, of course, Danny McGuire. We've had to wait a little bit longer than we'd hoped for the World Cup, but it's moments like this, isn't it? And seeing squads announced and seeing the team in action a few weeks ago that just crank the excitement up a notch each time, isn't it?
I think so. I think you know, I think the excitement will start to build now, and obviously we've still got a lot to play for regards Super League, but everybody's excited for the World Cup. I know the players are. You know, obviously they had a nice mid-season hit out there to blow the cobwebs away, and it should be a great competition. There's some good teams in the World Cup now. It's not just Australia, New Zealand, England. There's Samoa, there's Tonga, there's Fiji. You know, all the Pacific Island teams, and even your Ireland. You know, your Scotland's are going to be fairly strong and competitive. So it should be a really good World Cup.
It's quite difficult to kind of nail down what England's 1-17 will be in that opening game against Samoa. I guess you and the other Super League coaches are kind of just saying, look lads, their shirts for grabs, go and grab them.
Yeah, I think it's still really open. I think there's, you know, I think Sean Wayne said after the game that he had a couple of players that were sort of penned into his 17, the rest were just penciled in. So, you know, I think form is huge. I think form at the back end of the season in the big games, in the games that matter and are crucial, will dictate who gets into the squad, and if you stand up and be counted towards the back end of the season, you know, there's still opportunities for a lot of players.
Yeah, the excitement is building. Just a couple of months to go until the start of the World Cup, and we'll be with you every step of the way through the rest of the domestic season, through to the grand finals and all the way to the World Cup final at Old Trafford, right here on the Sportsman, your home of Rugby League Online.
Don't miss a thing from the new home of Rugby League Online. Follow the Sportsman on social media
and follow the YouTube channel for exclusive content.
Yeah, well, let's turn our attentions to this weekend then. It's a massive weekend in the Betfred Championship. Gents, I'm really excited for this. We're all off to Leeds for the Summer Bash. Yep. You're both involved, of course, with Premier Sports in their coverage of it. Hendo, this will be just a brilliant celebration of what is such a fantastic second tier.
Yeah, it is. It's a great opportunity for those teams in the lower divisions to get to showcase, on the big stage and get that sort of, I suppose, big game feel and atmosphere and experience, because as we know, there's only so many opportunities you get to represent your club at finals and in big games, and I suppose the feel, it's similar with the Magic Weekend in the Super League. It has got that big game experience and big game feel to it, and I think it's just great that every club will get an opportunity to experience that, as well as the fans being part of a bigger environment, bigger stadium, bigger fan base that'll be there watching it as well. So I just think the whole concept's great, and I'm looking forward to some of the fixtures that are on show that weekend.
Yeah, Kev, we've had some fantastic games already across the Championship this season, but there's a few just on this list here that look like they're going to produce the goods. Yeah, well, I think, backing up what Endo said about this competition, there's not many games. I don't see one game there. Probably the biggest one that I think that's a bit lopsided is the last Leigh and Featherstone. I think Leigh are the favourites, but all the rest of them 50-50, and I think that shows the strength of the competition now. It's not just a couple, the strength all the way down. I think even the Cumbrian derby with Whitehaven and Warrington will be a cracker.
Well, that was earlier in the year when it was played at Whitehaven. That was really close. It went to the wire, that one as well. So if that's anything to go by, it'll be another close encounter.
But I am looking forward to Featherstone and Leigh. I feel Featherstone have got to do something a little bit unorthodox. I think Brian McDermott will have something up his sleeve. Whether he gets, tries to ruffle a few feathers. I know he's got some players there who are tough blokes who might go after Leigh, because they can't just try and play rugby. They're too good. Lachlan Lang coming in, Josh Charnley's been in scoring tries for fun. So I think, that game in particular for me, I think the Newcastle-York one too. I think Newcastle under Dennis Betts have been slowly getting a little bit better. The performance at Bradford on Premier Sports was very good from them. So yeah, there is a few real good games. Bradford Halifax as well. Halifax doing really well. West Yorkshire derby. So yeah, some crackers there. And there's so many stories woven into these 7 games. Just even that first one jumps out. Hendo, your old club, of course, yes. London Broncos, and they're just starting to get the wheels to turn, aren't they? After a really slow, concerning, if you're a London fan, start to the season. They just seem to be getting things going in the right direction again.
No, they are. And do you know what? I think Mike Eccles, who's the head of performance down there, he's effectively the S&C coach. He's had to take the team on. There was nobody else, because the whole coaching team were relieved of their duties. And fair play to him. I've kept in contact with Mike over the weeks, and he's done a fantastic job to sort of galvanise that group, strip things back, simplify things for them, which they've managed to buy into. And as a group, they're delivering. And I suppose a few weeks ago, we would have looked to that first fixture and thought, I'm not really interested in that one. London are just going to get there and get belted. But I think now, when you look at their recent form, they've turned a corner. They've got every opportunity of winning that game now. Whereas a few weeks ago, I think we would have honestly said London no chance.
The same with Widnes, really. They went away and beat Batley. They're coming up against Barrow.
Yeah,
another team who are going great. That'll be a fantastic game. John Keir, since he's gone to Widnes, has really got them going on there.
I think they won 4 or 5 on the bounce now, have they?
Yeah, 4 out of 5 since John's been there.
And then even his old club, Bradford, Halifax threw a bit of a stinker in the weekend against London by all accounts, Hendo, but that has the potential to be a really great game. In the account, you're not really sure what you're going to get from either team.
Yeah, well, Halifax are missing a few players through suspensions at the moment. I think that certainly impacted them on the weekend against London, but that's not taken any away from London, because it was a scintillating performance, first class from them, and thoroughly deserved it. What that does do is give Bradford a bit of hope the fact that London have been able to beat Halifax, because Halifax have had a fantastic season so far. They're doing a really, really good job. I think they're a well-balanced team as well. But as I said, they are missing a few guys now through suspensions. So that will give Bradford an opportunity. But for me, Bradford at the moment are probably the team that's least in form in the competition. They've been conceding a lot of points, struggling to find a win at the moment.
Story within Bradford, George Flanagan Senior playing with his son. His son played, that's his second game he's played with his dad. So he's going to be a terrific player, the fullback, George Flanagan. So watching that game, watching that little combination play a part, it'll be good too.
And then you've got Batley Dewsbury on that Saturday as well, always just a good old-fashioned Rugby League derby, that one. And then you mentioned, on the Sunday, Widnes. They come up against Barrow, Kev. I'm just excited to get a look at T. Ritson and see what he can do on the big stage. Yeah,
Hakeem Maludi, T. Ritson, that right edge of Barrows. And Jared Samet, he's rolled back the years, hasn't he? He's cartwheeling, back-flipping every time he scores. He looks in terrific form too. Barrow this time last year were in League One, and I think they're sat fifth now
that's right.
in the Championship. So what they've done and what Paul Crewery's done with that team is nothing short of sensational. So that will be a great game. Two great coaches in Paul Crewery and John Keir going at it.
The two older statesmen.
Yeah, two great sides too, and I think John Keir, he's an underdog again, and he loves that underdog tag. So I think he'll go there. We're confident from the result they've played, but confident that he's got a few things, and he'll use that mentality that he has done before to get a good performance from his team.
Well, the headline act is Saturday night, Featherstone Rovers against the Leeds Centurions, and we can hear now from Blake Ferguson.
Blake Ferguson, welcome to Headingley. How do you view the stadium on your first look?
It's amazing. It's very similar to Bank West. A bit more open now, but the surface looks pretty quick, so looking forward to Saturday.
You mentioned Bank West. That will mean nice memories coming back for you, would it?
Yeah, definitely. Didn't lose too many games there when I was there, so it was a very enjoyable time in Australia playing for the Eels there. So but looking forward to Saturday and the week ahead, I guess.
Because it'll be a slightly different occasion, I think, won't it? All the teams coming together. They have Magic Weekend in Australia now, don't they? But
yeah.
Do you like the concept of this as a different round of fixtures?
Yeah, definitely. We played a few in Australia there, so it's good to see some old friends. I know a few lads playing in the Championship, so it'll be a good day, I guess.
But you're in the big game, the focus game on the Saturday night against Featherstone, a team that you're building a bit of a rivalry with, it's fair to say?
Yeah, I don't think it's a rivalry. I think we're just competitive teams. Definitely both want to win the game. So, just like every other team, we just want to go out there and get the wins. And I'm sure that they're going to be looking forward to coming out up against us and trying to get the win against us. So, it'll be a great game, and hopefully we can get some fans out here and try and pack the stadium up.
Yeah, that one should be a cracker. Saturday night, Featherstone versus Leeds. Just quickly, James, because we need to move on. Kev, the game you're most looking forward to across Summer Bash this year?
Featherstone and Leigh. I think Featherstone will have to come up with something a little bit different. I think there'll be a little bit of needle in that game, and they'll get stuck into Leigh. So that is a cracker.
And
Barrow Widnes is the one for me. That's the game for me. I'm looking forward to. Yep.
Yeah, it'll be a great weekend, and you can join these two if you want to all weekend on Premier Sports. It should be super. Let's move on. There's a full card, of course, in the Betfred Super League. Let's not forget that. It starts off Wigan Warriors against Hull KR, and Kev, we'll learn a lot about how Wigan bounced back, because up until that game against Leeds, really since the cup final, they'd looked like a bit of a juggernaut. What can they do, having put that performance in last week?
Yeah, they just need to get back to doing what they've done all year for 99% of the time, and that's having good attack. It wasn't the defence that let them down, it was every time they had an opportunity, the ball went on the floor, the ball went behind the key players. Jayfield and Bevan French were shut down. So they just need to get back to the basics of getting the skill right, and they'll be fine. But Hull KR, I think they'll come full of confidence that the way and the manner that they chase back on Warrington, I think they'll have a good go at Wigan.
And then tough assignment for Hull FC going to Toulouse, Endo.
Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes when your backs are against the wall, so to speak, and you're missing players and things aren't going right, you're almost going there with a bit of a free hit. You're almost thinking, well, we're going to France. No one's probably expecting us to win now in the state that we're in, and also the form that Toulouse are in and the desperation that Toulouse have. I think when you look at the ingredients of the game,
and the form that they're in.
As I'm saying, when you look at the ingredients of the game, I think it's got all the ingredients, because you've got Hollow like really massively out of form, conceding points, backs are against the wall. Can Brett Hodgson use that to try and galvanise and produce something when just say, listen, it's a free hit, go out there, express yourselves, play with some freedom. And then you've got Toulouse on the other hand, as you just said, they're in great form, but are desperate as well, because they're chasing, they want to get further away from Wakefield to make sure they secure their Super League berth. So there's plenty of motivation for both teams. Hull need a performance, they're desperate for a performance, and Toulouse are desperate for a result to climb themselves further up the ladder away from relegation. So I think it's going to be an exciting contest, but I'm tipping Toulouse.
Kev, Wakefield desperate for a win, and what a game to get it in it would be against Castleford, and maybe this is the motivation that Willie Poch and his players need to put in a really big performance and just stop the rot a little bit.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to play Castleford, it's this week. I think they've come out and said they've got 17 fit players available. So Lee Radford's got that mentality within his group now. That's the problem for Willie Poch and his players. He's got that toughness where it doesn't matter who plays. They showed that over at Hull FC. The team was a bit jiggled about and they had players playing out of position, but they're performing every week now. I think the players that have come in, for Imo, Fanua, Jake Mamo, they're all contributing really well. And I think it'll be a tough afternoon for Wakefield if they don't produce and get even better from the performance they put in against St Helens last week.
And then Huddersfield, Warrington, Hendo. Warrington will feel like this might be a good time to play Huddersfield. They just seem to be wobbling a little bit. That performance against Saints, and then the last minute, the 1 point loss against Catalans. But at the same time, Warrington just look so shot on confidence. We don't know if Matt Duffy's going to play. He could be a good boost if he is in that side.
Yeah.
For a lot of almost strange reasons, that's a fascinating game.
Yeah, it is. It is. I do fancy Huddersfield, though. I still think they will produce a performance that'll get the job done. I'm a little bit. I think Kev touched on it earlier in the call about Warrington and the confidence at an all-time low, and he used a key word there about trust, and I think you can see that it's evident that that playing group just aren't quite connected. They're not quite trusting either in each other or what's going on around them. So I think it's going to be a difficult afternoon again for Huddersfield. I think Huddersfield will have that bit between the teeth. They'll be disappointed they didn't come away with points from Catalan the week before. I think they'll be determined to get themselves back on the horse. And one thing I do know from Ian Watson, from being involved coaching in Tides against him, he always seems to be able to have a way of beating Warrington. He did it when he was at Salford. He had the likes when he's at Huddersfield. So I'm sure he'll have a plan to get the job done.
Well, talking about confidence, Kev, the complete flip side, Leeds will be going to Catalans full of it.
Yeah, and Catalans will be full of it too, because they've obviously they beat Huddersfield last week, but I think Leeds, especially the way, that's probably the best performance they've put in against 100%. One of the best sides.
100%.
It was an all-round performance. Endo touched on the aggressive defence, but I thought their attack started to flow as well. And it's funny how sometimes things can click with Cam Smith in the halves. It just freed up the other players. It freed up. They got the ball out wide to Harry Newman. They got the ball out wide to the wingers, and Ash Hanley's really performing. So it just looks like a confident team. And Rowan Smith, they're still very up and down, I'd say. They're inconsistent. But when they play well now, their well is very good and can beat anyone.
And then rounding off the week, Hendo, Salford Red Devils against Saints. You always make Saints favourite in these games, but you couldn't forgive any Salford. You could forgive any Salford fan at the moment for getting a little bit carried away and being optimistic about this one.
Well, I think Salford will go in with every belief and confidence that they can get the job done. The way they're playing at the moment, I don't think they fear anybody in the competition at the moment. I think they're like you said, they're playing with that confidence and that belief. So I think they will feel at home. I think they'll believe they can get the job done. But as we know with St Helens, they are a quality side. They are a team that, as we know, can raise their game, and even when their backs seemingly against the wall, if they're missing a couple of blokes, they can still produce the performances needed. So it's going to be a tough ask for Salford.
I think Salford are just running out of truth. Danny Addy's snapped his Achilles, and Ben Halliwell's gone back. So in a already position in that pack where they were short on numbers, they're even short. They're coming up against Walmsley, Leeds, Knowles.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough ask, but with Paul Rowley at the helm, you never know.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating weekend across the Championship and the Super League. We're quickly running out of time, so let's now take a look at the contenders for Try of the Week.
Welcome to Try of the Week. I'm Ross Fiddies, and here are this week's contenders. Try number 1 is Championship Rugby League. Barrow on the attack against Bradford, sweeping past to Maludi, who's got Ryan Shaw on the outside. Shaw making a break for it here, but it's back on the inside to Maludi. To Johnston now, who passes to Cresswell, who's looking for space out wide, and he's got Ritson on the edge. It's a lovely pass into the arms of T. Ritson, and there he is. He touches down for another sensational try. To the women's nines competition for try number 2, it's Shannon Stevens for Warrington, charging through the Catalan defence. Strong handoff there as she cruises past another dragon. She's got the space now and the speed to dive over for the Warrington Wolves. Try number 3, and it's Halifax Panthers versus London Roosters in the Wheelchair Super League. It was a nice flick pass to Rob Hawkins, who finds a gap. Lewis King going for the tag, but Hawkins, he's too quick and he's too strong, and he gets the ball down. Back to the championship for try number 4, London Broncos dominating at home to Halifax. More Sadurki with the ball, and it's a flick pass back to Paul Ulberg. He's got Alex Walker in support, and there he goes, he runs it in for the London Broncos. Try number 5, and it's Hull FC versus Castleford Tigers in the Super League. Scott Taylor with the ball now and looking for the offload, but it's intercepted by Alex Sutcliffe. He's away here and looking to rub salt into the wounds, but Bully Kid Japani's on the chase and he goes for the ankles, but Sutcliffe's on fire. What a try for the Castleford Tigers. And finally, try number 6, Jez Litton with the kick to the corner for Hull KR. Ethan Ryan, he comes flying in out of nowhere, and that's some try for Rovers. 6 tries, but only 1 winner. Head to the R-League app now to vote for your favourite.
Yeah, get yourself over to the R-League website, get your votes in for Try of the Week. Jen, it's been an absolute pleasure having your company for the last half an hour or so. It's going to be a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you both in Leeds, and we will see you next week right here, same time, same place, for the last tackle here on The Sportsman.